What are the brighter boys and girls doing? Looking at early retirement packages is one, but that's not the one I was going to talk about. What are they doing? They are looking at the things that actually any competent business would look at. Is that marks out of 10, or does that mean I've got 10 minutes left?
10 minutes left.
Oh, great, thanks, okay.
Just to reassure you all, the system will be used on me this afternoon when I speak.
But much quicker. Right. They're looking at their people costs. You will know, you have probably seen it in many of your organisations, there are processes of delayering and respanning. Now, delayering and respanning is management speak for getting rid of a lot of managers and making the lot work harder. But it has to happen in many local authorities. We've got to look at, certainly in the local authority, which I noticed is one of your customers, in Lagan, the City of York, where I was chief exec, there was a receptionist on the desk. The receptionist was managed by a manager. The manager was managed by a manager, and I managed that manager. That was the tiers we had in the system, 4. And people are doing that, they're having to. Plant and capital is very interesting. I still know local authorities who don't know what they own. And use phrases like, oh, that's not our land, that's leisure land. What does that mean? It's taxpayers' land, you Burke. Or that belongs to, no, it doesn't, it belongs to the taxpayer. And there's some rather innovative things going on, and I could list some of them, but there are some rather innovative things going on of people in health, in district and county councils, actually in this instance in Network Rail, looking at the sites they've got, the plants they've got, putting them together and saving a lot of money. And the advantages of some of that, well, of course, is you also improve efficiency because you're no longer travelling to meetings. Which was one of the stories, actually, when setting up City of York. I was at a party, and the social worker was giving it large, standing behind me, saying, I used to work for North Yorkshire, and we used to be able to listen to the archers sitting in our car on the moors because we only had to see 3 people a day, and now they expect us to see 8 because we're in a little city. And this woman tapped her on the shoulder and said, do you know who that is? He said, no. He said, it's the new chief exec. Oh, my God. But the point about bringing people together and them then didn't have to go to so many meetings, didn't have to drive from Settle to Scarborough and all that kind of stuff is actually quite important. And the other one is this contract. You see, it is a shield, but it's a bit, you can dent it a bit. It would be a mad local authority that wasn't currently looking at renegotiating every bloody contract it's got. And I mean mad. It is not in the interest of either party in a contract for it to not really be affordable and for it to all go down the toilet in nastiness. And you can renegotiate length, you can renegotiate all kinds of other stuff. But if my message to you really is that if your local authority is not looking if you've got people in the right place and have you, the freedom to manage, actually part of the bureaucracy is, just look at somebody's diary in your organisation. If they spend more than 80% of their time at meetings, what are they doing? The answer is they're being the chief exec. No, it's not. The answer is they probably should be doing more on the front line. If you're not looking at sweating every asset you've got, getting rid of assets, even if you can get rid of them for £1, it's still worth it if it's a high cost of maintenance. And if you're not renegotiating every contract, you've got no chance. And the reason I say this is back to the beginning, which is this is a paradigm shift. It is never going to be the same again. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but then the grants officers in Nottingham City Council in the 70s didn't know there wouldn't be student grants ever again. And the day's coming when it must be like this. If you are in Boston in Lincolnshire and it snows, as it did this morning, you expect the council to come and sweep it away. If you're in Boston, Massachusetts, and you don't sweep it away, it's a $500 fine. And that's a world that's coming too. Just as when I used to go to the bank years ago, I used to give them a cheque. Now I do all that with a hole in the wall, and the bank doesn't have to employ the guy who used to manage my cheques. So the world is changing. It's changing for us, but it's a change I know can be managed. I think it's a big ask for central government because they don't do this sort of stuff. But in local government, they do. And my view is we attack those 3 things. We're thoughtful about what it is that we can keep doing, what it is that has to go, and that we don't give in, because our first duty is to our citizens, our second to our communities, and it's only third that we have a duty to our institutions, local authorities and public services. That's all I have to say. Thanks a lot.